So we are live. Hello, everyone. And welcome to our second episode of our series, Building a Full Stack News Aggregation App. Hi, Panayotis, always here. It's nice to see you. Let's wait a couple of minutes, as usual, for more people to join. So, hello, Christos. Nice to have you with us again.
Hi.
Yes, Panayotis, being on time is being late. I always say this to our students when we have sessions, for them to be like in the session in advance. So thanks for not being late, Panayotis. Cool. And yeah, let's wait some minutes.
Yeah, sure.
Hello, Dali. How are you doing? I didn't expect to see you here, Dali. Nice to have you with us today. I guess 2 more minutes and we kickstart our event.
Cool.
There is a clicking sound, guys. I don't know from whose microphone. I think it's from mine, since
Yeah, it's from you.
Christos.
Yeah, just mute it and yeah.
Yeah, I will be like Christos. He will be under the spotlight, so bear with my clicking noise until I go in the backstage. Panayotis. Is it still there? I think it's the noise reduction of my headphone that does that.
It's a noise enhancement.
Okay. Well, I think let's start. So welcome again, everyone. My name is Slim. I'm the director of product at Social Hackers Academy, and today we have with us Christos, a seasoned full stack developer, engineer. How would you like
engineer.
to?
Software engineer is the best. Yeah.
Okay, so yes, and we will continue with the full stack news aggregation app. The last time we covered some aspects of it, like scrapping, and Christos will remind us like what we did last time. And today we will dive into how to generate summaries for the articles that we scrapped using, so to summarize them using AI. So yes, Christos, the stage is yours.
Okay, Slim. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me for the second part. And as you told it's how we will summarize the articles, but generally how we use the AI and how we write code to generate text eventually. But for our needs, we'll try to summarize the articles that we scraped in the first part. And if let's switch to my screen and try to see a few things before we start and talk about what we did last time. And this I have already prepared and tried to make it a more visual presentation this time. Is the end product is the news project that I have built, that I scrape articles from few sources of news sites, and when I click to any of those articles, it will generate and a summary of that article. And in this example, it reduced the words to 136. It's about 60% of the original body, and the original one is this one in our example. It's a rather long article that we did scrape in the first part of our series. I'm going to show what was the first part. In the first part, we are trying to extract, using the scraping, this part of the source code of this article. Okay, and we did get this. It's the content, the article that we use today to generate the summary of this article. And let's bring my notes to this. The summarization has two approaches. I will try to make an intro first to say a few things about summarization and artificial intelligence models, and so to bring all together to create code that will do this job. First, let's talk about summarization and what a summary is. Yeah, a summary is a way to reduce the text and have a more short version of it. So, and the main problem is how concise this version is and how well can represent the original text. And we have two approaches to summarize text. The first one is the extractive summarization, a more traditional approach that it take a Word document and extract the words to the output. The idea here is to try to find what words is most important based on the statistics of this word is more important than the other or generally. So it builds this extracted this text. This approach, it's produce not so coherent text because it removes some sentences that may be important. The second one, the newer approach, is using AI, and it's called abstractive summarization. It does not use the same words, but rather produce new text that have the same important information from the original input text. And this approach is produce more coherent summaries, but it's rather difficult to build and to create models that will do this job. And we will create the summaries using the second approach. And to do this, we'll use the OpenAI API for our example. But first, let's do let's see an example. Okay, I have here a rather simple sentence, and the bright sun shines in the clear blue sky. This sentence is 39 words, and using this approach, the abstractive summarization, it can be reduced to this sentence that's about 10 words or 25% of the original text. You can see that the bright sun is a sunny day, and clear blue sky has become the clear sky blue. It's the sky is blue, and this is a way to minimize the information to just the meaning of what we're trying to say. This thing is something we do in our age. We reduce the content so much that eventually is missing some information. But okay, this is the project. I will try to read news and more news in a shorter time, so we need this summary. And this okay, let's back a few minutes. Here is the entire prompt, how we try to address this job, and how we ask the language model and the AI to summarize our sentence. We convert it to a prompt. A prompt is a command that the prefix or suffix our article that we ask it to do that, and this has more words. No need to explain more. And how we could do that. Okay, and let's focus here. All right. And it's a rather big text. Here I have an article we will work today. It's an extracted article from the first part. In a matter of fact, this is the extracted article, and we'll generate the output of the summary. That is how I have already done it here. Sorry. So this is about how is the summarization of a text, and specifically of an article. I will try to explain what is the model and what is the AI part of all this. And this is a rather difficult job because it's a rather difficult topic. And Slim told me that I have to try to explain it a little more to people that have just started to learn about software. And this topic is difficult to explain to people that have years of expertise to software engineer. So I will do my best but probably it's a rather oversimplified way to explain what is what is behind of this job. And let's visualize again, Slim. And this part is how these GPTs and how these models work. This boils down to the way to a way to predict what the next word will be using the previous sentence or a large text. In this example, this is a site, by the way, that visualized, not mine, but it's perfect to see the size of these things. And in this example, we feed the how to predict, and the model can generate the probabilities of the next word. So here it chooses the text because it's the most probable. And this is the way that summarize, even if it doesn't make sense to do in that way. And it does it using this as the text that precedes this text. And let's continue to visualize to see how it works. Very abstract. It's converting each word into a number using a trained model that know what number goes with what number. And the new technology is that these models understand more than statistics of the previous ones and understand the attention. So what is attention? It's that this word is have rather it usually goes with this word. So when I ask it to make a summary, the next word of this text will be something that is a summary. So she tried to bind the next ones using the previous ones in a way more sophisticated than the previous techniques of extracting just the word to the next one. And these models, this is an example of a small model with 85,000 parameters, but we moved of this example. The first model was the GPT-2 model many years back that was more, had million parameters and more complicated, bigger machines needed to run it. We moved to large GPT-2, and GPT-3 is rather huge, billion parameters. Here we are now to GPT-4, that is undisclosed how many parameters and how big this model is. But when it was with bigger models, was made more better outputs. In this case, just a summary, but the models used to generate text and more consistent and more coherent than the previous models. This visualization and talks about words, but we will need to talk about tokens eventually. And let's move on to the playground, and I will just fill you up with what are those words are in the sense of the entire model and how they are used in the OpenAI project specifically. This platform, the playground, is under the OpenAI. You can create an account and test a few things and how what will be the output before you create code, and we'll make experiments here when we build, and we need to keep in focus that we're building a product. We need to make some experiments before we actually create code. And I was doing most of my experiments here. And for this experiment, I just copied this text here as a user prompt and set the parameters and play of what I need from each one. And the most important is the temperature. I don't want you to bother with difficult topics, but it's how random will be the output. If it's 0 and ask for the following text of the input, will be each time the same output. If it's 1, it will give a little random to the output, and each time will be a different summary. And using these parameters, I can try to find the best way to create and the best parameters to create a nice summary or anything I need. And if it's okay to use this model or the GPT-4, that it's rather bigger one model and more expensive in OpenAI, but sometimes you need a bigger machine to do what you want. And after we try a few parameters, we can rather find what works best for our case. In this example, the default parameters are just okay. You don't need to change anything, but here is a test environment to try to have the experiment. And with that, I finished the first part. It's a rather visual of representation of how we will use the underlying services and the idea behind of what we're trying to do with summarization. And we will go to the second part of how we build it using Node.js, JavaScript, to try to do the same things, but in our project. So if there are any questions generally about the idea behind all that, Slim, I can answer them.
We don't have any questions so far in the chat. I like it personally, the visualization of the GPT. Like it reminded me the constellation, you know, when it shows the Earth next to Jupiter and then next to the sun and so on and so forth. So we can see that there is a lot of progress in the language models. It is indeed a very complicated topic to cover really quick. So the idea is to understand a bit the concept, how to use it rather than how it works, like in detail. So we are not rebuilding it, so it's okay if you guys don't understand that much how it how it works, the most important is to understand how to integrate it potentially in your code and how to use it. So with that said, I think we don't have questions so far. So I think let's go to the next part of this episode.
Yeah, probably I don't either understand it completely. It's rather difficult to have in mind of how these things, and sometimes even the creators don't understand how some parts work. So
things go out of hand.
Yeah, it's
this is scary.
Yeah, I know, but most of times that I try to build something, I try to understand what the integrations, what the underlying infrastructure is doing, so to have better decisions of what I'm going to build, and this whole first part is only for just the attendees to understand that I'm not building the language model, and I'm not building something from scratch, but I'm using an already multi-billion-dollar project to do my little one. So in the second part, let's try to do the same thing that we did in the playground, but using code. And let's maximize this and try to go step by step here in this script. And this is a Node.js script. I call it summarized.js, and the first things is to import a few libraries, like I did in the first part. In the first part, I have included some the most important library that was the article extractor that will do get an article from URL. And this script, the most important part is the OpenAI library. This library can be installed using the npm command in a Node.js project, and will bridge the simple library functions like completion and create to the API of OpenAI. In this script, the first thing is to read the article from file. I do that to rather decouple the scrape function from the summarization. When we're building software, we try to focus just to one thing only, and to try to improve that one without other things get in our way. And I have already prepared the text that will summarize, and we read it with this function read file that is coming from the file system library of Node.js. And the important part is that we have in the function, we have a constant that has this a variable that has this text. The next one is that we assign the environment API key to our constant again, to our variable. This variable is on the machine environment and not here like a string. This is a security thing we usually do because we don't want important passwords or tokens or keys, secret keys to be part of our code. We try to separate them and minimize the probability of get leaked to repositories or other parts. So I have already assigned the real API key to my machine and then access it through the process.env variable of Node.js. Using the API key as a parameter to the OpenAI library, I create a new object here. The new object is the OpenAI client that I will use it to create the summary. The final configuration parameter is the chosen model. Here we choose the GPT 3.5 Turbo. That is a fast and cheap model to do our work. If we define that the GPT-4 model is better for our use case, we probably would switch here to this one. And that one. And this variable will be used here down to completion. But before that, we built the prompt. The prompt is the article as an input, sorry for that, as an input from our file, and it is concatenated with the command of write a concise summary of the following. This is the example we did in the playground of OpenAI. And again, we verified that is a good prompt. This part is rather half important when we prompt engineer and try to find what is the best prompts. This will be a very difficult output, a different output, sorry, if we create if we try another prompt. For example, I have concluded that if I omit the consigned summary, he tried to create new things. It tried to create new things that sometimes are not part of the original text and hallucinating to things that are not do not exist using this model. If I use the more advanced model here, it probably will be fine. But remember that this model is more expensive than the previous one. So using just a better prompt for these LLMs, we can use cheaper models and faster ones. And the next part is something that is required from the OpenAI library, and we access the GPT Turbo, the 3.5, using a chat way, a chat object, rather complete the following words, find the following words. And we just built an array of prompts with a role as an input. So the role is user and the content is the prompt. You can see here that the user makes this prompt, the assistant answer in a chat like process. The messages of just one message and the model parameter is being used here in the create function of OpenAI client. Okay, so this this is the heart of this script. It will go and send this prompt to OpenAI and return an object in the chat completion here, variable of the output of our function. I can access this output using the choices array message.content. Here it has more variables that you may need in your script, but I just need the content of the output and I call it summary. It's just this text. And finally, I just write into a summary.txt file this summary that is here it is. Okay. I can have more parameters here if I change the temperature or the length of the output. I can input more parameters in this library and to create whatever I want, to request whatever I want from the API. And let me try to check here my notes if I'm missing something. And summarization, yeah, I can run this. And it's rather just a node.script summarized to run this script and test it that it works as expected. It finished without messages, then it's okay. And this is the new text. And if I go to the git compare, you can see that the previous one has a few words changed because it has this randomness to every request. And this is I don't have anything to tell about this code. I have more improvements on this, and if you have any questions until here, it's I will try to answer them, but yeah, that's
Okay, so if anyone have a question, please write it down in the chat, and we will answer them. In the meanwhile, so let me try to kind of summarize what we did. So we had the playground. So if we can go to the playground,
sure.
Christos, please. So here can we have it like the playground full screen, and then we will go to the code part full screen. Okay. So here we have like you can go to this playground. You will act as a user. You will put the text that you want, the prompt. So what you want the GPT to do, and like in our case is to summarize the paragraph. We provide it with the paragraph, and we will give it some parameters. Some of these parameters are to choose the model, and in our case, we choose the GPT 3.5 Turbo, the temperature, the maximum length, and so on and so forth. So here, I think we kept the temperature as default. So and since we are building our news aggregator app, we won't be able to go to this playground, and then we want to integrate this playground into our project. So we kind of redid everything which is done in this playground using the OpenAI library. And to do that, we wrote Christos wrote some code. So let's go there. So what we did, we imported the file system, which is a Node library that allows to read files and to write, to play with text files. And we imported the OpenAI library, which will do the chat, the summarization. So the file system, we used it to read the original article. So we created a constant called article, in which we stored the original article, which is in a file called article.txt. So we took the content of that file and we put it in a variable called article. So it's just plain text. Then, in order to connect to the OpenAI library, we need to kind of log in. And since we are not logging in through email and username, we use API keys. So that's why we have the API key. You can see it in the code. That's for security reason. Also, when you are pushing your code to GitHub, you don't want to push your API keys. That's why you have the process.env to do that. And then we selected the model and we put that down in the constant, which is GPT 3.5 Turbo. And then the prompt. So the prompt is write a concise summary of the following, and then the article itself that we brought from the article.txt. Then if we can scroll a bit down. Then in order to communicate with OpenAI, there are some rules, you can find them in OpenAI documentation. So if you are new to this, your question would be, how would I know that after await OpenAI, I need to put .chat and .completion? That you can find all the instruction in the official documentation of OpenAI. And for this case, for chat completion, this is how it works. So you need to create an object with the message. And here the message need to have two parameters, which is the user and the prompt, which is the text, the prompt itself. And then we feed it to chat to
OpenAI SDK.
Yeah, and the magic is done in the constant line 29, constant summary. So we go to chat completion, and whatever comes from that will be our output. So we need to store it in a text document, which we did in summary. And then, once we have all that, then we can put it in our front end in our website, and you have the summarization directly. So that's what happened technically.
Yeah. And this whole process is a part. The first part was the script. The second one is the summary, and the next one is how we merge this together. We use this in our project, and we just need the summary. So we tell the backend, go get me a summary for this URL, and it will eventually do all steps automatically to create this this output. And if I have time, I could go into some improvements of how these things work and how we build it as a product and not just as a script, because this this script, if the input wasn't an article as a text and was an article as an HTML, it would have a major impact in our product, and not as a project, as a product, because this input is the twice is a double cost of the text one. And to give you this example visualization again, there's a notion of a token. A token is a part of a word that these models do work, and try to split the word in smaller parts. More or less, it's like 55% of the original text. For example, let's go to give you an example here. If I input this text to the OpenAI, it counts 57 tokens. You can see this in color. For example, indivisible is 2 tokens. If I input our text here, it's 542 tokens. But if I input the HTML we did scrape from the first part, it's over 1,000 tokens. So OpenAI have a pricing based on the token, and it charges per 1,000. So the first improvement we can do is not to send the HTML that we did pass from the first part, but the text of this HTML. To do that, we don't need something very sophisticated, just a simple function using regex. It's fine. It can remove HTML tags and produce simple text like this one that I have used in our example. And if I run the stat script, this script is just to have a sense of how costly this part is. I try to tokenize here, and I tokenize here the inputs and calculate based on the price of the OpenAI is giving. And here the HTML will cost this amount in dollars, but the text will cost this amount. It's a rather small difference for just one HTML for one article, but imagine that we have hundreds of users that constantly keep coming and coming, and the bill is building up. For this one, for this reason, we try to think how to reduce the tokens and how to talk to the LLM, to this model as efficient as we can. And I can show you, here is the just the visualization representation of how my bill is from the December. I have spent just $3, but if I had more traffic, will this keep getting bigger and bigger? It will be double if I just put the HTML and not the text. And the second improvement that we can do is to not use an OpenAI at all. It's just a reference, but there are libraries that are around the OpenAI. We tend to use the LangChain library that is agnostic. It's a wrapper around OpenAI and other models. It's like more difficult to use it. But if, for example, I think it's very pricey, or it does not perform too well enough, the OpenAI, I can switch to another vendor that will do the same thing without need to change my code, because here, for example, I will not use the OpenAI client, but the LangChain wrapper that will produce the same output, and the vendor is just another parameter to this part. This is an open source. This is an open source library again, and with that we do an improvement over the quality of the product, and not the first improvement was to make a rather cheaper implementation as a product owner, and the second one to be more open and easy to move from one vendor to another, and limit the vendor login for our project. This is it. I don't think I have more to say about these things. Slim, if you have, or anyone, any question overall, I would be happy to answer them.
Yeah, I still don't see questions in the chat. I think it makes sense. So the idea is that you can use OpenAI. You can try to make your project cost effective by, for example, writing some more code because what we are doing is that we are scrapping the entire page, and if we give the entire HTML to OpenAI, it will do double the work to give us the summarization. So instead of paying for all of that, we can write some piece of code in order to extract the text that we need to be summarized, and we feed that text to OpenAI, and we reduce the cost by half. And we also can use some open libraries that act similarly to OpenAI, but it needs like some more higher technical level, let's say, not because it's more difficult from what I understood to use.
Yeah, have a limitation. It's a high level abstraction, so you don't have the OpenAI API as is. If there is an improvement in the second version, you have to wait the LangChain team to adapt these changes, or it's a limit of how it's used to this team. But overall, it's a better approach if we would like to build a product and a full-fledged product, rather than to just use the OpenAI and be limited to their models and their prices, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
All right. So I still don't see any question in the chat. So either it was too difficult or it was too well explained. I will go with the second option.
I hope so. It was a rather difficult part of our application, because it was not just code. It's But it was the most important, if I may say, because this is the project. Okay,
That's the heart of the.
yeah, I would like to summarize the articles, and this is the way to do it. All the other things are just plugins and extensions of this idea, right?
Yeah.
So this
And
is it.
and I think so. The next time it will be to generate the text to speech, right?
Yeah,
Or
it's
yeah,
the second thing I did want is to uh, um, just don't read it. Tell me, read it for me. So with that part, we hear the article, we hear the summary of the article, and not just yeah,
read it ourselves.
yeah.
Yeah.
We
All right.
will do that again using AI. We will do that again. We'll do that using again the OpenAI API, but we'll address a few other things like file system and how we store things. Okay. All right.
All right. Cool. So I think we're reaching the end of this episode. Um, I still don't see questions, so I think we are covered. Thank you very much, Christos, for
Thank
this
you.
enlightening session. And see you in our next episode. We will upload today's episode on to our YouTube channel. Like tomorrow, it will be uploaded there. So if you want to rewatch it or to share it, you can find it there. And we will very soon announce when will be our next episode. And I hope to see you all there again. Have a nice evening and
Thank you.
see you soon.
Bye bye.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. Bye bye.
Bye.